Good morning and welcome. This is Dawn and this is Life Daily with Dawn, and we are doing a 12-day series. And what we are looking at is we're looking at 12 diamond dimensions, 12 dimensions of change that are going to happen and are in fact we're in the middle of at the moment, from 2020 to 2027. And so today we are looking at the heart of beginning again. And we are looking at this particular pattern of potential, this particular gate of transformation, and we will experience this most strongly in the year of 2021. This is about the passage to a new society and the creation of new structures and systems that are supportive of walking into a new era, rich in love as one humanity. So this is about a whole new way forward and a whole new way of seeing ourselves, which leads to the creation of structures and systems that are different than what we have created in the past. So we're looking at, again, the gate of change today, of the 7 gates of transformation, and the soul wonder of hope, in terms of the 7 wonders of the soul, that our collective soul that we are able to reclaim. So, and this will also be our collective focus in 2021, although as I mentioned yesterday, these are occurring kind of like waves, throughout the 7-year period of change. So this is number 7 of the 12 dimensions of change. The name of the C symbol, or soul essence art symbol, is the heart of beginning again. So this is very much about a fresh start, about a new way forward, about what appeared to be the end was actually the beginning, a renewal, a renewed vision for what is possible, an expanded vision. And it's about radiant expansion from within the heart of beginning again. And notice the heart is important in this symbol and also in this particular facet of change, this of the diamond dimension. This is about the ability to, sort of polish the surface of what we've been doing and allow the light to shine through more clearly. So let's look at today's C symbol and see what we see in this particular symbol. There are a lot of qualities that I see in this particular symbol. It's interesting because it's pretty, there's a unique, a strong pattern, well, in all of them there are, but in this one in particular, to me, it's, pretty, like, it looks predictable on the surface. And yet, what I right away am struck with is the strength, in addition to the idea of motion or movement. So let's take a look and see. So the first thing that I see that this symbol is saying to us about this particular dimension of change, this opportunity as we recreate sustainable systems for flourishing humanity, is a clear, strong vision for service to society in some unique way within a particular system or structure. And that is suggested to me by this central image of it's almost an expansion of the pinwheel we had yesterday, and now we have these arrow-like triangular petals coming off that central pinwheel, and that it looks almost like a lens of a camera would, where it's able to open and close as needed. So there's a responsiveness about this particular symbol that suggests a responsiveness at the very core of systems and structures of the future. And also, though, equally, in addition to that responsiveness, there's, the ability to open and close or change the flow, perhaps, of a particular quality or service to society. There's also the idea of direction, with these triangular shapes coming out of that central flower star symbol that go out into society at large. And remember, when I say society, or we're talking about a particular system, this can happen at all different levels. It can happen at the very local level. It can happen in a very small community, even a circle of belonging, a connections with others, all the way up to, a national government or even some sort of cause-related organization or visionary effort. And when I say systems and structures, also, I just want to be clear. It's not necessarily that what we have classified as a system or structure in the past. These can be very loose networks. They can be very fluid organizations. They can be a coming together that, or a movement, or a initiative that maybe isn't meant to last forever. And that's one of the downfalls, I think, of our society in the past, is that we have been very rigid and fixed in our view of systems. And actually, we have dismissed the validity and power and strength of more fluid systems and structures. And so that will not happen as we move forward and we embrace the heart of beginning again and move forward with hope, the second of the 7 wonders of the soul. That is the opportunity of this year and suggested by the C symbol. So back to the center star flower lens-like image. There is a tightly woven core vision in the systems and structures that we will co-create for a new society. And that tightly woven core vision is really born out of a unique way of seeing the highest possible outcome and holding that vision throughout a structure or system or network. There's also a high value placed on courage and connection and creativity within flowing through all areas of the system or structure. It's like the lifeblood. So courage, connection, creativity. We've talked about those 3 values in some of the other symbols that we've looked at, but this one in particular speaks to me of courage, which is in fact connected to the heart. If you look up the root meaning of courage, you'll see that it has a link to the heart. And so in this year of 2021, and as we embrace the heart of beginning again, this particular dimension of change, we're going to have the opportunity to truly take heart. And interestingly, this is next year in terms of the emphasis. And so obviously we're going through a lot right now here in the spring of 2020. And so the opportunity within all these various connections that we have, because we're all connected to systems. Don't make the mistake of thinking that this isn't about you as an individual because, well, you're not the designer of some huge system. In fact, we all equally contribute to the creation of these systems and structures in the future. And so this high value of on courage is really speaking to me in terms of how we all show up individually and what we bring to those systems in which we are a co-creator or a participant and an agent of change. And change is a key word with this particular year as well. It's very much about change. And so this courage, this is something I can't really define where it is that I see this in this symbol. It's partly those outer 8 cross flower shapes with the 3 dots. For some reason, that speaks very much to me of courage and the heart and a commitment to allowing oneself to show up and the system itself to show up fully, courageously in uncertain times, in the midst of uncertainty. So taking heart and entering into the heart of beginning again. There has to be a willingness, and this includes when there is within a particular system you run up against system failure, and I believe we're seeing that now and probably a little more so as we move toward the remainder of 2020. So when we get to 2021, it's going to require courage to begin again. It would be much easier just to move into despair and not embody the second of the 7 wonders of the soul of hope. But should we choose hope and the heart of beginning again and show up courageously and begin to connect and to choose to create and co-create and then the reward is great for us in this particular dimension of change, these patterns of potential. So within systems that do embrace that hope and take heart and begin again, some of them from scratch and some of them to just simply clean and clear, there will be an encouragement of exploration, of expression, and of expansion from the center unique vision of a system or structure, and from the shared identity of humanity as a unique emanation of the threefold sacred flame of light and life and love. So that core vision that you see here represented by this starlight flower in the center is also a portal to, again, what is the core of all of these 12 facets of change is a new way of seeing humanity itself, as, again, an embodiment of a sacred light and life and love that is the very core of who we are as a race, and don't like that word, but, like as one people, and it is infused in our very collective DNA. I did an activation a couple days ago on the 4th of April called the Diamond Nexus activation, and I was shown that it was about our collective DNA as we move forward. And the funny thing is, I don't think I even realized that Diamond Nexus activation actually, that is, DNA can be an acronym for that. And so it's in the very heart of who we are. The heart of who we are is light and life and love. And if all systems begin to draw on that, there will naturally be the encouragement of exploration and expression and expansion. It will be a time of great change and radiant expansion from within each system, from within society at large, from within individuals who are contributors to these systems and structures that will usher in a whole new reality for humanity. Within this heart of beginning again, you can see the strong lines of connection from within a sustainable system to society. So if you look from that central star flower shape, again, we've got the curvature, the flexibility of the line moving outward and in waves, and to the very open petal-like structures, and then it moves back in. And it's the connection. There's a flexibility. They're very spider-like, aren't they? It reminds me of a ride that I used to love when we lived in Germany when I was growing up, when I was in middle school, and we used to go to these festivals that they would have. I forgot what they called them right now, but in the spring in Germany, all over, there were like these little, basically what would be like a fair here in the United States, only they were more fun. And there was this ride called the Spider. I mean, maybe they have it here, but I've never ridden one here. And the arms could go up and down, they could extend out, extend back in, retract, and then expand. And so this particular C symbol is a good representation of that. So these are lines of connection that extend out from that core vision for change in society. And they are very strong lines of connection from within the sustainable system outward into into society at large, and into various groups and individuals who are served by that system. There's also, interestingly, in this image, the indication of an even distribution of resources throughout the system or structure, and that's represented here to me by these circular dots in these containers that open up to each of the petals, which are like extensions into society in a particular avenue, a particular way. And so there's the distribution of resources and love and light and life throughout the system and structure. And I think that's something we've seen in the past that has not happened in many systems and structures, and in fact has led to decay and corruption within those systems and structures. And so this is something, that feels very important to me anyway, to pay attention to as we move forward and co-create these systems and structures that will support us in this new era There's also the indication in the C symbol of gentleness and of grace and a light touch at the point of care. That's suggested most of all by these flowy petals with the open white channel that comes from these, the patterns of potential and that are evenly distributed, and it extends outward and then flows, flows to the a particular area within society. And there's a real gentleness here, and I think that that's so aligned with the quality of hope, the the second of the seven wonders of the soul, and that hope that rises up from the soul of humanity and is shared. It's a sharing, and that's the whole model here. It's a graciousness, a gracious sharing of resources, of connectedness. What else did we talk about? Of courage, to encourage others to take heart, of creative solutions. And again, that exploration, expression, expansion, all of that being connected in a very gracious manner with a light touch at the point of care. So, in addition, the petals themselves, from a strong center, not just loosely blown about, but they are able to move in a gracious manner and respond, just as these strong arms of connection are. The petals themselves are able to be moved by the wind of, I like to think of it as the wind of spirit, and respond to the winds of change within within time and space and within our society. So there's momentum there's momentum that's picked up as the system begins to function fully. And then there's also the agility and the flexibility. There's the ability to shift and change, to respond to changing circumstances in the world, while also remaining fully connected to a core vision. So I think this is where a lot of systems have gotten off balance in the past. There's been one or the other, right? They're either almost too responsive, like they're blown about in the wind, and there's no like, wait, what's your vision? As opposed to many of the larger systems we've seen have been so locked down within their vision that never changes and is not responsive, that that leads to decay and actually over time the doing of more harm than good in society. So this idea of momentum and agility in particular is really important in this particular year for us, and also in as we move forward in this 7-year period to create these new systems in society, to do so that they do remain agile and flexible and able to be responsive. So they don't become, top heavy or bogged down, and there's not, this clunky mechanical, rigid process that results in the failure of the system to do the very thing it set out to do. So there has to be momentum and agility. And actually there's two more. One other thing is back to the patterns. I want to say that there is a consistency in the designs for life that are emanating from each area of the system, and also a receiving of the designs for life. And if you look back to the, actually, let me just talk about the last quality, because I think that will be easier to understand. So there's a commitment. Look at the cross-like flowers in the within the lines of connection that are strong but flexible. So the darker structural lines that are coming out, and within each of those inner petals is a cross-like flower with the 3 dots. For some reason, to me, this is incredibly connected to a commitment, an ongoing commitment, or a commitment to ongoing evaluation and continual improvement within each functional area or activity center of a system or structure. The three dots. I feel like there's more here that I might get later, but right now what I'm sensing is it's like a checkpoint to ask ourselves within each system. So each manager or leadership within each area of a system, needs to ask, wait, is what we're doing, it doesn't have integrity? Does it have a connectedness to our core identity and the core identity of our system that is rooted in the view of our common heritage as humanity? Is what we're doing rooted in the light and the life and the love that is the very nature of who we are and who those served by our system are? And those questions must be asked continually by all who are participating in a particular area of service, in a particular action, in a particular reach into society, into a particular service. So this commitment to continual improvement and to the evaluation of what we are doing to ensure that it is connected to our core values is essential in terms of the systems and structures we create moving forward. There must be an openness to feedback, both internal and external. So if you notice these flower-like cross-shaped symbols within the symbol here are within the flexible arms of connection, and they're held within the system, and yet they are also open to external, they are receiving from the external environment, because these petals themselves are open, aren't they? They're clear. And I feel like that is very symbolic, and it's important for us to, within these systems that we create, to build that into the system. There must be an openness and a receiving of feedback, but also of just, a continual openness to and a connection with the external environment. It must remain open. It's open systems design, and this hope that is the core value, or the wonder that is our opportunity, is vital to the lifeblood of a system and structure. So 2021 is an invitation to the radical reclamation of hope, which is one of the 7 wonders of the soul. And it's a passage that's all about stepping into the radiant realization of who we are, individually and collectively, by entering into the heart of beginning again. Within each system, we must enter into the heart. And this is a sea change, and it's a realization that true hope is not found in stagnation, but in exploration, in authentic expression, in daring adventures with radiant expansion. And so hope is not a thing to be hoarded, it's a thing to be celebrated, and it brings life. It brings systems back to life. It helps them to live in full expression, to be, for all the core values of a particular system or structure, to be expressed fully. So key questions: how will we take heart in our lives, in our relationships, on behalf of the fellow travelers on the way, for the whole of humanity? And how will we, within a system or structure, take heart? How will we begin again? And how will that system cultivate hope from within and carry it forward? So take a look at the keywords and ideas I'll put below, and there are resources for you if you would like to connect to those. And I will be back tomorrow for the 8th dimension in our 12-day series. Hope you are doing well and staying strong. And today, wherever you are, take heart and carry hope in your heart.